Were you planning on purchasing a Nintendo Switch anytime soon? Well, you may want to hold off for just a little while longer. Following Nintendo's reveal of the Switch Lite, Nintendo's now releasing a revised version of the current Switch model. Many gamers have felt that the battery life of the Switch was too short for a portable console, and it appears that the focus of this revised Switch model is to address that issue. The original Switch has an estimated battery life of 2.5 to 6.5 hours of gaming, while this new model increases battery life by about 2 hours, boosting potential game time up to 4.5 to 9 hours, respectively. Of course, this will all vary from game to game, but to give you an example from Nintendo themselves, playing Breath of the Wild on the current Switch model yielded about 3 hours worth of gameplay. Played on the revised Switch model resulted in about 5.5 hours worth of gameplay. That's a substantial upgrade, and thanks to new efficient hardware, it's impressive how Nintendo was able to squeeze that much more battery life by only upgrading the hardware and not the battery capacity. Despite this revised version confirmed to hit store shelves mid-August of this year, Nintendo has not gone into detail in regards to what components were swapped out. However, a recent FCC listing gives insight into what was likely changed. It would appear Nintendo was looking to revise the SoC processor, storage, and CPU board. Nintendo's using a smaller, more efficient version of Nvidia's Tegra X1 processor. It won't be more powerful over the current Tegra X1 processor, just less power hungry, so don't expect games to run smoother or at higher resolution than they currently do. Since the revised Tegra X1 will consume less power, it will produce less heat, which is regarded by some as a contributing factor to Switch consoles warping over time. Physically, it's going to be identical to the current Switch model, but there are ways to know if the Switch you're buying is this new revised version. You just have to know what to look out for. The revised Switch packaging will have a red backdrop as opposed to a white one, and will be missing the hand from the original packaging. You can also look at the serial number. If it starts with XAW, then it's the current Switch model. The revised Switch with the longer battery life will have a serial number starting with XKW. With the same MSRP of the current Switch model coming in at $300 US, is it worth ditching your current Switch for this revised version? Well, that depends. If you're thinking about buying your first Switch, then I would wait for this revised version to take advantage of the increased battery life. Or if you're someone who does a lot of gaming on the go and find yourself needing to constantly charge your Switch throughout the day, then I would sell it and buy this revised version. For those who mostly play their Switch docked or rarely ever play it in handheld mode, then I wouldn't spend the money. Games won't perform better or even output at higher resolution than the current Switch models, and really, someone like that wouldn't take advantage of the extended battery life. You have to remember, this Switch is just a revision, with the goal of phasing out the current Switch. I wouldn't count on Nintendo releasing a more powerful version of the Switch anytime too soon. With Sony and Microsoft planning on releasing their next-gen consoles during the 2020 holiday season, it would make sense for Nintendo to hold off until then to release a Switch Pro in order to compete that holiday season. Regardless, it's impressive how much more efficient the revised components are, and definitely worth it as a first Switch. I would personally just buy a power bank and charge my current Switch as needed when traveling or commuting. I wouldn't buy a Switch until the Pro was released. But hey, those are my thoughts. I want to know what you think. Is the longer lasting battery enough to get you to ditch your current Switch? Or are you still waiting for a Switch Pro to get rid of your current Switch? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for future tutorials, gaming, and tech videos. And until next time, this has been GTRBytes.